Hello, my name is Jacqueline. I am a corporate flight attendant and welcome to my YouTube channel, Jacqueline Travels. Before we get into today's video, I would like to make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Make sure you hit that button below. My original idea for this video was going to be a 2-minute tidbit, but I think it's going to become a 2-minute tidbit plus. The title of the video is How does a corporate flight attendant cater a private jet? And this is a question that I'm very frequently asked, especially from commercial flight attendants who are looking to transition into corporate flight attending. A huge concern that I always hear about is the catering situation. As commercial flight attendants, we never had to cater the airplane. There were specific caterers for the airplane that loaded everything we needed on board. As a corporate flight attendant, it's quite different. Corporate flight attendants are in charge of everything that's on board. On any given day, I can pull up a DM on my Twitter or my Instagram. And real quick, if you're looking for me on those, my Twitter is @JackTravels, that's JAC Travels. And my Instagram is Jacqueline Travels, just like it is here on YouTube. On any given day or on any video comment, I'm asked, how do you find catering in a location that you have not been to before? Doesn't that make you nervous? The catering aspect of being a corporate flight attendant seems very stressful. And yes, that was my biggest stress, my biggest concern, my biggest fear when I made the transition from commercial flight attendant to corporate flight attendant. And it's not because I don't know how to cook, because I think of myself as a very good cook. And the food plating still makes me a little bit nervous. Generally, I can copy a picture pretty well. I just Google image a picture of the food that I'm plating and try to duplicate it. But deciding what my passengers will be eating and when they'll be eating and where I'll be picking up the food from was definitely stressful. So today I'm gonna cover a few tips for you guys regarding catering a private jet when you're a corporate flight attendant. Let's get into it. I've already mentioned that I've been asked many times, how do you find private jet catering at a location that you have never flown into before? The first thing I do is reach out to other corporate flight attendants, either on Twitter or Instagram. Generally, there is another corporate flight attendant who I have a connection with that has flown into that location that can give me a good catering recommendation. However, if I can't rely on another corporate flight attendant to give me information regarding a good caterer out of a new city, it's very simple to find one. So what I do is call the FBO before we fly into whatever new city we're flying into, and I will ask them, what caterers have you seen deliver? What caterers look good? Do you have any recommendations for a reputable caterer? Any recommendations for a caterer who arrives on time? Because obviously, being on time is just as important as securing good food. The FBO has always sent me a recommendation every single time that I have asked for one. Generally, what they do is email me a few menus of catering companies that they know deliver to the FBO, the private airports, the smaller airports, things like that. So usually the day before a trip or the day before I'm flying into a new location, I'll send the FBO an email asking for a menu or a few menus of different caterers that they use, and I will take my time and look over them. And generally there is a food description, but there's also a picture description, and this is very, very helpful. If I receive one menu or a few menus and the food just doesn't live up to my expectations, at that point I know I'm gonna have to use a restaurant to secure good food for my passengers on the private jet. Using a restaurant to cater the private jet is definitely something that's very cost effective. I personally like to use restaurants for a few reasons. One, because I know that I am in possession of my food, and I also know I'm not gonna be late as a corporate flight attendant to that jet. My pilots are not gonna be late. Food is with me. We will be ready to go when the passengers are ready to go. But also, again, cost effective. Catering a private jet is ridiculously expensive. I was just on the CFA_life. I was just on their Instagram page, and they were talking about an airline caterer charging $18 for one lemon. It's insane. That's another reason why I like to use a restaurant, just because I know that I can keep the cost down somehow. And granted, everything about a private jet is expensive. The catering is just one more thing on top of that. I'm often asked if we have to stick to a certain budget. I haven't been presented a solid number that we have to stick to, but just out of respect for the company that I work for or the clients that I'm flying, if I'm doing any sort of contract work, I like to keep the numbers low and not be the most expensive flight attendant out there. If you're on a crazy productive trip and you have a short layover and you really don't have time to dine at a restaurant or go to a restaurant to pick up food, your next option for catering the private jet would be to go to a grocery store, supermarket, bodega, specialty shop, whatever you want to call it, and pick up food from there. If you watch my vlogs, you know I've actually used this option a few times. I love going to Whole Foods. The Hot Bar has some fabulous choices. You can just plate the food and make it look very fancy, and the food is always fresh and it tastes very good. Eataly is also a place where I like to pick up prepackaged food for passengers. It's just easy. It's not insanely expensive. It's probably comparable to picking up a meal in a restaurant, definitely less than private jet catering. And since I'm trying to cover all the bases, everything that could happen in private aviation, because it's a crazy world, let's just say you have a short layover, so you can't go to a restaurant. The menu that the FBO sent you just doesn't look appealing, and you have no transportation. At that point, you're gonna have to rely on the hotel restaurant to cater for you. Personally, I feel like there are a lot of positives in having to use the hotel as a source of catering. The first thing, generally there is a kitchen open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you get a trip change and a quick call that you have to be at the airport quickly, call downstairs while you're getting ready, have the hotel prepare some food for you, and you know by the time you're ready and your hotel room is packed and you're walking out the door, there will be food ready for you downstairs to pick up. So I have a tip. I've shared it in a video many moons ago. I can't remember the last time that I talked about this, but as a corporate flight attendant, it's super important for you to always have Ziploc bags, the gallon Ziploc bags, in your suitcase at any time. The reason for this, if you are ordering from a restaurant or if you're ordering from room service from a hotel, they're gonna give you like 15 different boxes, and that's bulky and it's annoying to carry. It's probably impossible to carry between all of the bags that you have, plus other catering supplies, plus the pilots have their bags. There's just not enough hands to cover all of that. So I condense all of the restaurant food or all of the hotel food into Ziploc bags. And if you're staying at a hotel overnight, it actually helps create room in those tiny little refrigerators that are given to you in the hotel. This way, all of your food can stay at the proper temperatures. So carry Ziploc bags in your suitcase, definitely a must. Splurge on the good ones. You don't want things leaking in your suitcase or in your hotel refrigerator or when you're transporting food. Just make sure you have the high quality bags. There are a few more tips that I want to share with you regarding catering a private jet. So if you call the FBO and you look at the menu and you decide, hey, I think this looks like good food, the pictures are very nice, I went on the internet and looked at reviews from other corporate flight attendants, this is the company that I'm going to use to cater this private jet, there are a few things that you should do before you order from them. So obviously you're going to want to look at what to serve your passengers, how many passengers you have on board, what the pilots are going to eat, and maybe as a corporate flight attendant, you'll have 2 minutes to shovel some food down your throat before the flight is over. So come up with your menu, but then it's equally important to let the caterer know how you would like the food to be packaged. So what I mean by that, are you going to be using an oven to heat your food? If so, you're going to want your food in aluminum oven tins. If you're going to be using a microwave, you definitely don't want to be microwaving that. So you'll need specific packaging for a microwave. Also, it's very important for a corporate flight attendant to know the dimensions of the oven. If you have 14 passengers and you're ordering food and they put 14 chickens in a tin that's this big, but your oven is only this big, then it's going to take time to rearrange your food into separate tins to make sure it all fits in your oven. So when you're ordering from the caterer, you can ask for a specific tin size and they will accommodate you. Another term that I learned when I became a corporate flight attendant was ordering in bulk. Now, this is great for so many different reasons. So if I have 10 passengers and I'm gonna need 10 dinner salads, I would order that in bulk. One, I'm not gonna get 10 salad plates or 10 salad bowls delivered to the airplane for me to offload, and that's gonna be a nightmare to keep cool and store. I'm gonna order everything in bulk. So I'm gonna get a big bag of salad, a big bag of tomatoes, a big bag of carrots, a big bag of cucumbers, a tub of salad dressing. Everything is gonna be separate in bulk. So this gives me the freedom to do portion control, and actually ordering in bulk is a great way also to save save whoever you are flying a little bit of money on the private jet catering. So if I have those 10 passengers and I know I'm serving dinner salads, I would probably order salad in bulk for 7 passengers. It's always more than enough food. You can get creative with the plating, and then you save the cost of 3 additional passenger salads. I also like ordering in bulk just because it makes the reheating of the food easier, or it makes the keeping the food cool process easier for the corporate flight attendant. So if there are 5 passengers who want fish and 5 passengers who want steak, the cooking times are obviously going to be different for those 2 things in the private jet oven, but my passengers are going to want their dinner at the same time. So if you're unaware of this, steak should always come to room temperature before cooking. Therefore, I could put my fish into the oven a while before I put the steaks in, and then add the steaks at the very end so all of the food is warm. And I kind of got off track there. What I was trying to say with that whole thing was keeping the fish all together and keeping the steak all together in bulk is going to keep them away from any side items. And you definitely can microwave the starches on the airplane, and sometimes you're gonna want to microwave the vegetables on the airplanes too. Keeping the food separate is just gonna make the heating process easier for the corporate flight attendant. You are gonna wanna have your starches heated at the same time and your vegetables heated at the same time, and I gave the example of my meats cooking at different times. If I happen to order a fish dinner, it would come plated with the protein and the starch and the vegetable on the same plate, and then I would have to deconstruct everything, and it would just be a hassle for me to have to heat up again. So ordering in bulk is definitely a time saver, it's a life saver, and it's a money saver. So those are all of the tips that I have for you today regarding how a corporate flight attendant orders catering on a private jet. Definitely too long to be a 2-minute tidbit video, but if you guys have any ideas for any future 2-minute tidbit videos that you'd like to see, comment down below for me. Also, if you have any other questions, comments, thoughts, or concerns, put those in the comments for me as well. Please make sure to leave me a thumbs up for this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll talk to you next time.